China has accused the United States of a bullying form of protectionism after Washington announced extra tariffs on $550 billion worth of Chinese goods. A Commerce Ministry spokesperson said maximum pressure policy from the U.S. violates the consensus reached by the two countries' leaders in June. He criticized the new tariffs from the U.S. for not promoting respect, equality, or mutual benefits. The spokesperson said China strongly urges the U.S. not to misinterpret the situation or underestimate the resolve of the Chinese people. He warned that there will be consequences if such actions do not stop. The escalating trade war between the world's two largest economies has come with some hefty costs. Fitch Ratings has estimated that extending tariffs to cover another $300 billion in Chinese goods would cut 0.4% from world economic output. U.S. farmers have been among the hardest hit. The trade war has hurt sales of many agricultural products, including fruit, meat, and grains. According to U.S. government data, soybean exports to China were at their lowest since 2002 in the first half this year. A report by JP Morgan estimates the tariffs already imposed on China would cost the average American household $600 a year, and the number will rise to $1,000 if the new tariffs take effect.
Ascend 910, Huawei's new AI training chip, is set to run twice as fast as the existing ones currently on the global market. Research shows that the chip requires less energy to perform. Huawei says the chip will allow more diversified AI services across different industries.
Huawei's Ascend 910 is just the beginning. In the future, we will continue to invest in more AI processors for different scenarios.
A computing framework called MindSpore based on this chip has also been launched. Huawei says it will not only reduce scientists' burden of dealing with basic and repetitive coding, but also encourage easier integration of business and individuals.
In 2018, Huawei announced its AI strategy, aiming to provide a pervasive intelligence to build a more connected world. Huawei is not the only company pouring money into this industry, but then its willingness to provide affordable technology to all makes it stand out from its competitors.
Think about a smartphone. Huawei is the first company to introduce artificial intelligence into smart devices. Before we introduce artificial intelligence into smart devices, think about those good pictures. It's only possible by professional photographers. But now, with Huawei mobile phone, with artificial intelligence embedded in, every ordinary people can make pictures which was only possible before by professional photographers. This is just one example. Looking for future, more and more such kind of tasks you really need highly skilled people to do will be possible for every people to do. That's the future, I believe.
Huawei says they will continue to make AI more accessible to every person, home, and organization.
In downtown Chicago, a fleet of buses prepares to escort a large group of international visitors through rural parts of Illinois.
We have a team of 19 people from the Americas.
These soybean buyers from all over the world are about to get an up-close look at how the crop is grown and processed in the top-producing soybean state in the U.S.
Whenever you can see your customer and promote your product, that's all a plus.
My name is Greg Lichtide.
First stop, Schoolar, a company that takes farmers' grain and prepares it for market. Until the past few years, close to half of all U.S. soybean exports went to China. The soybean actually originated in China many centuries ago, but today the Chinese are big buyers of soybeans. They're mostly used for pig feed to help satisfy the country's growing demand for protein. Just as weather often forces farmers to improvise, growers who tout the quality and sustainability of U.S. soybeans and America's transportation networks are now trying to attract new customers in places like Mexico.
There's a lot of hog population farms in my area, and they're growing big.
And Indonesia, where the soy food product tempeh is very popular.
It's a source of protein for more than 265 million people.
With supply outpacing demand, soybean prices down, and China and the U.S. in a trade stalemate, it's no wonder so many shoppers showed up here at Jeff O'Connor's farm.
We never envisioned this lasting as long as it is, but what it's done is brought a great focus onto that there's a whole lot of other people in the world that need our soybeans.
This year's Soy Global Trade Exchange brought 400 buyers from more than 50 countries to Chicago. The industry's What It Takes initiative to move business from China to new markets was set back by this spring's heavy rains. Brazil has also become a major U.S. competitor. Trade with China hasn't dried up completely. Some soybeans continue to flow into the country as a result of goodwill purchases made earlier this year. A Chinese delegation even attended this trade show to keep this 38-year relationship going. Still, these are uncertain times for soybean farmers who feel caught in the middle.
To bake cake, you got to break some eggs, and right now we're the broken eggs.
They're trying to piece things together as best as they can.
If there is ever a heaven on earth, it is here in Kashmir, are the famous words of Mughal Emperor Jahangir. Kashmir is blessed with all the virtues travelers obsess over. Snow-capped peaks, dense pine forests, meadows, waterfalls and gushing rivers.
We get a lot of local and foreign tourists, especially to the Neelam Valley and Muzaffarabad, Rawalakot, Panjosa and Tolipir. Hundreds of thousands come here every year.
But it is also a land of endless instability and uncertainty, owing to its status, a disputed territory. There is a looming security threat along the border, and people, especially tourists, fear the situation can escalate at any moment.
Tourism was the backbone of Kashmir's economy. Hundreds of thousands of local and foreign tourists used to come here to witness its landscapes and natural beauty.
Such uncertainty is unfortunately far from uncommon in Kashmir. The latest tensions simmering in the valley have brought Pakistan and India to the brink of war.
Ever since India has started violating the ceasefire, it has greatly affected our tourism industry negatively, especially the Neelam Valley, where the tourist spots are very near to the LOC. They fired at those spots and injured the people there. They even fired cluster toy bombs in the area. Several children got injured.
An increased militarization of the Kashmir Valley by Indian armed forces and unrest has taken a heavy toll on tourism.
We used to have thousands of tourists here, but ever since the special status of Kashmir has been changed and violence has begun at the LOC, tourism has gone down. The Kashmir government had announced 2019 as the year of tourism, but no one is coming here because of the tense situation. 90% of our business has been affected.
Much of the local population is involved with tourism, whether directly through hotels, restaurants and transportation, or indirectly through sales of supplies to businesses or handicrafts to visitors.
The situation at the LOC had a negative impact on tourists, where 1,000 tourists were coming here in the past, now not even 100 come. It is hurting our economy.
In better days, Azad Kashmir sees around 2 to 3 million tourists a year, but whenever turmoil surges, as it is now, livelihoods are impacted. For now, the percentage of the tourists stands at between 2 to 3. Hotels and guest houses lie vacant.
We went as far as giving out hotel and guest houses free for 3 days to the tourists who were traveling here. But when the hype was created in the media about the border areas, people cancelled their trips.
As tensions simmer between the two nuclear-armed neighbors, residents of Kashmir fear the situation might escalate any time. They remain uncertain about their future and livelihood.